that flesh with you again. Now, I wanted to hear from them because it's never easy.
It's never.
From what I have heard, that being a single parent, that's why they're parents. So when you're one, the entire, I can't call it load or burden, but responsibility comes upon one parent. You're walking us through your thesis, your
Yes.
research, and your journey, and you said you noticed there was this gap. And as they're saying, it was difficult. Did you get to interact with most of the other single parents? How did the fathers come out? How did the mothers come out? Do they share the sentiments as our guests today?
I really interacted with many of them. And the discussion was wrong with them. And they aired their grievances, their problems,
Yes.
and their challenges. And I discovered there were psychosocial challenges.
Okay.
That is, depending on the mind, the way of thinking. And I also realized that the society, there is a problem within the society. The single parents that I interacted with, they really complained about rejection.
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 Okay. Just continue. That rejection, I'll ask them how they feel about it, but just list them down for me. There was rejection that came out?
No, there was rejection, isolation, discrimination, a lot of stress from those single parents and fathers and the wives, the mothers, and alcoholism, especially in the very area where I ventured. And I noted that very many young people below 35, those who had married were already divorced. Reason being, they don't want to be responsible.
All right.
They just want to leave everything to the wife.
So that is below 35. These are youthful couples.
Yeah, below 35. Between 25 there and 35, those challenges of alcoholism. And when I dug deeper to understand why they took alcohol, so many of them said it was because of stress. So I realized that there were so many underlying issues that needed to be tackled for them to be psychologically healthy so that they can lead a healthy life, even in the future.
And looking at the fact that the child is directly dependent, and as a mother, I know, the child looks at, if your emotions change, it affects the child. And I really want to hear from Stephen. I'll come back to you, Tabitha. We're working on something with you. But Stephen, kama unaweza nisikiza, anasema kuna mambo ya rejection. Wewe mwenyewe umesema hukupata usaidizi. Si ndio, kwa jamii hukupata usaidizi. Nataka nijue kweli kama ulipitia hizi changamoto. Wale wanaishi kwa, how do you call the village? Mjini ama kijijini. Walikufanya ujihisi vipi? Ulipata support kutoka kijiji, watu wa kijiji? Unapata support, could you help me explain to him? Unapata support? Unapata usaidizi kwa watu wa kijiji? All right, so that is just to confirm that the isolation and stigmatization exists. All right, please walk us through about, did you get to interact with the communities really? And did they say any reasons why they saw single parents the way they saw them?
In fact, I really interacted with them. Because having heard about rejection, I really wanted to know, where is this rejection coming from?
Yes.
And they had to explain themselves. Single fathers and single mothers. I had quite a number of them during my research.
Yes.
And they talked about relationships. If they are seen, a single mother is seen talking to a married woman, they would point a finger at her. That one wants to take my husband.
Oh, really?
So already, and the others, married women, they would rather say, don't walk with that one. Because once you walk with her, she will just possess your husband. And that one was very painful. They were painful as they shared their experiences.
So that was women against women, and we're looking
Women
at
against
married
women.
women against single women.
Yes.
All right.
And even fathers, single fathers, against single fathers. You know, once being a single father, they said even visiting a friend was a problem.
All right.
Because once now the father visits the widower, visits the friend, he was also fearing. This man, though he's my friend, he might befriend my wife.
Okay.
And you see now, they tended to isolate themselves to avoid now relationship with other people.
So
So they felt isolated.
So they then say, you know, for the sake of peace, I'd rather stay, nijifungie mimi tu, na nikae na watoto wangu for the sake of peace. So it gets to that point. And that is also psychological, there's a psychological implication.
Yes.
Please just walk with us more. Narudi kwenu, I'm just getting a foundation, but those are just some of the things that you picked. What was really ailing? Because we've been very curious to understand what has really been ailing single fatherhood. You agree with me, Tabitha, that we hear a lot about single moms. Single moms. What stood out in your tujasikia that came out about single fathers? Especially the age group, ulisema to 35, the responsibility aspect, economy, and then we'll hear from Stephen. He's elderly, but he has stayed intact. The responsibility was not his problem. He only lost his wife. She died. But responsibility was not something that, came out for his situation. What did you pick up from the young men, the young single dads?
Yes, I picked underlying issues.
Okay.
And by that time, for sure, I took those single parents and as this onion.
All right, you carried illustrations?
Yes, I like demonstration.
Yes.
And I took them as this onion. This onion is covered. It has got different layers.
True.
When I put it next to my eye, no tears will be shed. Listen, there's nothing that can be seen, but the gas is inside. If we start peeling the layers of neurosis, those layers of the onion, we call them layers of neurosis, as per a researcher just thought, that the layers conceal some emotions. So those single parents,
okay,
I noted, they harbored a lot of emotional issues. And when I started peeling, like the way I would peel this onion, to see, when I peel the first layer, I put the onion near my eye.
Yes.
Of course, I'll start closing because of the gas that is coming out. And when they started airing their issues, so I noted their underlying issues were bottled up.
Within the single parents?
Within the single parents.
Okay.
Were bottled up, like the way this onion is holding a lot of gas.
Yes.
And when I tried to peel, in fact, I tried to peel by offering interventions, like now dealing with the emotional being.
And I like that we're coming to that interventions part, because not only will it help people like Tabitha and Stephen who have been here and are elderly, but also the youth. And the reason why we brought you, Tabitha and Stephen, is because they're young single parents who pretty much do not know how to maneuver around the situation. It might not have been the sole reason why they are single, but they need to know, how do I stand? Tabitha, ameongea mambo ya onion. And I'm hoping this can be as an open conversation as possible. Do you agree that through your 21 and over years, you have had certain issues that were like the onion, bottled up, that some get you tearing? And which ones were these? And how did you overcome them, if you want to combine that together?
Whatever she has talked about, it's very true, because that's what the windows they go through. When you are seen, even being given a lift by a man, the society, first thing they'll think of, you are just taking that man. And there's nothing like that. So you are left being hurted inside you. Being smart, the society will only think you are smart because there's a man behind you who is just making you that way. If you educate your children, the same thing. Right now, there's something I went to, everything she has said is very true. There was a time where I was doing a business. By that time, a woman stopped talking to me because she said, I'm always smart. I'm going to take the husband.
Yes.
And the husband was a teacher. Now, to me, I was wondering, where that man is working, are there not so much smart teachers who are there, who she can take? And you know, even by the time where she was working there, I'm the one who just got the shop for them to work there. And inside you are bitter because there's nothing like that. Because I don't know who said, when you are single, as young I was left, you cannot make it. Inside you, there is positive you.
Amazing.
And that's what you look for. Because now, like me, I was left nothing. I had no capital. I had nothing. I was rejected by the family where I'm married. What they were only thinking of is me to be kicked out so that now they can be left with the property.
All right.
And because I told God, as young as I was not that young.
How old were you?
I was 34 years. So I was the youth age.
Yes.
So I told God, because I was pregnant, I will not be crying there outside. Being useless woman, I just, inside me, develop positive attitude. I can make it. And God, can you guide me? I make another side of business where now I'm going to take through my children like any other home where there's two parents. And that's what made me. Just God gave me my soul strength. You know, with your soul, you have strength. You maneuver for all those challenges you go through because you are strong inside you.
I like when you talk about inner strength, and I'm still on Tabitha.
Yeah.
You have sons and daughters alike.
Yeah.
Oh, you know,
now they're adults now.
Now they're adults.
Yeah.
Great. A great shout out. Can you say hi to them if they're watching Mommy on TV? Thank you for being, you know, supportive to your mom. And I'm curious, it can be difficult, like you have said, especially when the in-laws and the other family members reject you. But is there any point in time it was difficult then to raise your sons? Did they demand anything from you? And how did you go through that moment of, you know, the adolescence, if there was that, especially with the boy child, as a single mom?
As a single mom,
yes.
There is only one thing I developed immediately my husband left. I used to talk with them throughout. And what I told them, with God, we are going to make it because God is our provider. So each and every morning, I told them, whatever we need, God has it. So we only be praying for God to see us through for all our daily needs. So through that process, now they came understanding because they were rejecting even the other children within the home. They understood because like the last born, he charged me because he was very young.
Okay, yes.
Where I was doing the business, he was just the age of 3. I had a mattress for him to sleep there. So one day, and there was a mirror there. So one of the days he woke up and stood, and then he looked in the mirror and told me, that is my dad. So me only what I did, nilicheka. Lakini he just repeated for the second time. Nikacheka. But now I realize this boy,
yes.
He's just wondering why they don't have a father. So I went home with the others. So I just gave them a story, all of them.
Yes.
Then I told them, can you just go and show them, not only them, the other graves which are there within the compound. Then they took the last born to their father's grave, so that now he can go and see where he's no longer there.
Yes.
And then from that time, he never asked any other question.
So such challenges would then come up, but
Yeah.
you found ways